Breakfast. TV on the radio with Hamish, Coleman-Ross from stuff.co.nz.
Yes, in transit this morning, Hamish, Coleman-Ross, Hamish CR on Twitter as well. G'day there, Hamish.
Yeah, morning, Wammo. How you doing? I'm coming to you from the beautiful Wellington Airport. It is an amazing morning down here.
Which is a bit of a change. No breeze there.
No breeze. No, it's relatively still outside. There is a man in shorts drinking a coffee right in front of me. If that doesn't scream to me, beautiful day in Wellington, I don't know what does.
Exactly.
Great times.
At the moment, splitting your time between the Auckland and Wellington stuff.co.nz newsrooms.
I am. I'm down here to meet the All Whites today, believe it or not.
Oh, what are they doing?
They're just going to that Football World Cup thing, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Just
right.
as you do.
Yeah. Are they training or something? You know, you're going to meet them at training?
Yeah, they're doing a training thing, and I've got a bit with them doing some filming today, so that should be bloody cool. But yeah, no, they are newsworthy. But the question, I guess, on everyone's lips at the moment is: do we have enough news to make up 1 hour a day? And the answer looks as though probably we don't.
Why have you come to that conclusion?
Well, look, this is my opinion on things. The news has been in fast decline for a long time. I think to call the news hour would be very generous. In fact, I call it the entertainment hour that promos other TV shows. It has lost a lot of its luster that it used to have. You know, when TV expanded to being 1 hour, it was seen as a massive development in this country, and now the fact that it's been reduced to, it's potentially going to be reduced back to half an hour is sort of seen as a retreat. But I think that we can probably get everything we need in a half-hour bulletin. And the fact of the matter is TVNZ this week announced they're going to cut about 75 jobs to recoup, I think, $80 million is what they're looking to make in profit. So 75 jobs for the cut.
Yeah, so they're going to shave off a few million in the process, aren't they?
Well, yeah, this is a profits-driven decision. You know, this is an accountant's decision. I've got to be honest. I do think that the fact of the matter is that the product isn't good enough to be able to warrant a 1 hour bulletin. Maybe we could have a half-hour bulletin followed by a half-hour sports show, which could be independently financed out and sponsored out, then followed by your close-ups and your Campbell Lives. But honestly, I think both stations could take a very, very good cue to cut the crap and just make a half-hour bulletin, make it much more streamlined. But
then again, but if you did that, right, it would probably be just as expensive, because if you cut out the sport and the weather out of that half hour, you still probably got more news content than you would in the hour bulletin, if you know what I mean.
Well, if you get me on a Wednesday to do a 10-minute talk about what's happening on television, Wammo. You know how it is. Pad it out. No, I think they've got to start getting more commercially realistic about what they're doing. The days of people just blindly getting their news from TV are gone.
That is gone.
Why
yeah.
I have a job.
Yeah.
So I think they've got to get more commercially responsible with what they're doing with their news hour. And if they don't have an hour of news to do, well then bugger it. You can't do it, can you?
But people are still tuning in, though, aren't they?
Well, this is the odd thing. They are still tuning in, but the revenue, the ad revenue is not there. So I'm wondering whether or not it's the right people who are tuning in. I think the people that do have that dispensable income, the ones that perhaps are responsive to advertising in a large way, aren't necessarily the ones that are watching your news hour.
It's
a really interesting question, I think.
Yeah.
And what's even more interesting is that the government is making noises, and don't forget, we've got a budget coming up in May. The government's making noises about potentially axing or funding to TVNZ and chucking it to TVNZ 7.
Well, now, I'm not completely against this idea, because I like this distinction between here's your commercial arm, being TV1, TV2, and here's the public broadcasting arm, TVNZ 6 and 7.
Well, this has worked really well for Australia. They have ABC and SBS over there. And don't be afraid of it being government funded, because what's happened with SBS in Australia, for instance, is you've got some of the most interesting programming that you'll see anywhere else. They have shows over there like John Safran versus God, which, had John Safran being actually physically crucified at one point, then followed up by other programming like they're the only people in Australia that show South Park. So, don't be afraid of it. It can potentially be a very good thing. But I think if you do that, it tells you, and I think it actually strengthens the station that, if you want to see what your government and what your tax dollars are paying, then tune into this channel.
Yeah.
Don't mix it up with the likes of commercial programming,
Yeah.
Montana Sunday Night Theatre. Not even that exists anymore, but everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Or 2.5 Men. Don't mix the commercial with the government funded. Have a very clear distinction.
Or what was the program? I think it's a Wednesday nights, Real Life on TV1, where they roll out the freaks every Wednesday night. The tall people, the short people, the Siamese people, and they call that.
It's headline grabbing stuff. It's what we call page 3 crap.
Yeah.
And people apparently love it, but I don't know if they do. Do I really need to know about, the shortest person in the world, or what it's like to be a bad kid in Britain going to a fat camp in the USA? I don't really care.
Yeah.
But I think if you want to have a channel that is dedicated to telling New Zealand stories, I'm totally for it. Absolutely. I mean, TVNZ 7 already does some fantastic programming. It really does. But you need to give that more support and more strength. And I think if people know specifically that their tax dollars are paying for it, then of course they're going to go and watch it. What do you think?
The conspiracy theorists say? Well, the government is just setting up TV1 and TV2 for sale.
Nah. You know what? I know there's that saying, they're so big they can't fail. But TV1 and TV2 have a bloody long history and some fantastic people working in their hallways. They are commercially viable. They will succeed. They will continue.
Yeah, but therefore the government could sell it and make a profit with them.
Exactly, because 80% of the revenue that TVNZ make is commercial anyway. Only 20% accounts for what they're operating on at present. So,
but would you be happy?
Massive loss.
Would you be happy to see a private company take ownership of TV1, TV2?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. I mean,
do you think there's anyone out there? Is there anyone out there who can buy it? Because at the moment, it doesn't look like there's actually any companies who want to buy TV stations at the moment.
That's the next question. I don't know. Do you know who should buy us? I'm quite honest about this. They should get the Fijian government to buy us. They've kind of got the military dictatorship going on. They're probably the closest thing we have to like a fascist dictatorship in the area. Maybe they should come in and buy it. It could be quite interesting. We could change all the newsreaders to Fijians. Let's be honest, that would bring a lot more colour to the news. Simon Dello could go back to being a lawyer. The rest of the good-looking, tall, long-haired blondes that do whatever they do, they could go back to, modelling or, I don't know, giving you those hand sanitizer products when you're at the mall.
It's a pretty far-out suggestion.
Maybe the world would work itself out. I'm told that Fijian people are exceptionally hard-working.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
what I reckon. We sell it to Benny Barama. He'll buy it.
Quite a bizarre suggestion there, Hamish, to be fair.
I think we'll do that. Let's sell it. Let's sell it to the Fijians.
But your point is you don't really care.
No, I don't. I don't care who owns it. Just to run it properly and make sure that it makes some money. TVNZ has just kind of embarrassed itself a lot over the years with overspending, misspending, misprogramming. I mean, look, I know it's hard to be a broadcaster, but their strike rate for getting it right compared to getting it wrong is pretty disgusting.
All right, well, that's
I think if you've got a commercial reality that's chucked in your face, that'll make it a far more interesting proposition.
That's some hard-hitting words and hard-hitting suggestions there from Hamish Coleman-Ross this morning.
That's what happens when you get me up at 5 o'clock and chuck me on a plane.
Golly gosh. All right, well, enjoy those all whites.
I will. Hey, thanks, man. Look, mate, I'm going to try and make it into the studio next week. It's disgusting that I've been away so long.
I want to see you in here. Come on.
Yeah, all right.
Thanks, Hamish.
Thanks, buddy.
Cheers. Hamish Coleman-Ross, Hamish CR on Twitter and also at stuff.co.nz. He's the chap doing all the video stuff over there at the moment. Yeah, that's what he does. It is now 26 minutes past 8.